Dan here, last day of September. We got a new daily dip. We're going to try a little bit smaller, a little shorter. Today we only got two people. It's going to be Mr. Perez and Thick Teddy going over swings and charts. Let's get it.
So, what is going on, guys? This is Thick Teddy. I am back again on a daily dip. Thank you, Dan, for having me on. And I'm going to go over a short, kind of quick talk about the election and the debates and how the election could impact the market. And then I'm going to get into a few tickers that I think are going to see a positive price action due to the election or who's elected or debate talks. The election. A lot of uncertainty comes with the election, as everyone already knows. And what I think is good to know about that is that it's going to be good, whoever's elected, for certain sectors. So Trump is talking about getting the big pharma and getting their prices down. That's going to be bad for biotech, likely, but it'll be good for some parts of biotech. Trump likes the oil, so that's going to be good for the oil resources sector. And Biden wants green energy more than he wants oil, so that's going to be good for the green energy, electric vehicles, alternate resources, renewable resources. So that's good to know. Marijuana is another big one that will probably come up before the election as they're pushing it through the House right now. But I have not heard either candidate's stance on that. But that'll be something good to know as that sector could boom based on who's elected. The debate last night. So it was a shit show. I'm pretty sure most of you probably watched and cringed as much as I did. But um, there were good things that came out of it. So the electric vehicle talk was really big for me as I'm invested heavily in SPAQ and a couple others. I like AYRO, I like Solo, I like Neo, I like Workhorse, I like Fisker a lot, or SPAQ. So I'm going to go over a couple of my favorites because both candidates voiced their support, which that's huge for both candidates to say that they both agree on an issue. So regardless of who's elected, we're going to see good things for electric vehicles. So these are three of my favorites. I have many more, but let's get started. So first off, I'm going to talk about Solo. They are a company with a three-wheeled electric vehicle with a 100-mile radius, and they're targeting people who commute in Los Angeles and other West Coast cities. So one of their recent press releases was pictures of them on the assembly line. So as you can see, they're already making cars. They are producing them. They're small, and this was big for me. Completed vehicles are expected to hit the U.S. market this fall. So they're going to have vehicles on the road, which is marketing in itself, and they're going to have people talking about it. The company has targeted late November, early December for initial deliveries. So that's also huge because they're going to be getting it out right past the election, which whoever's elected, there'll be more talk about electric vehicles before the election. So that'll already kind of be a sector that's moving due to that. And then Solo is going to be actually getting their product out. People are going to be saying, "Oh, my friend has a Solo. They get 100 miles. They don't have to pay for any gas," which is going to be huge. Their pre-orders, the numbers on this, they have exceeded 64,000 units on pre-order, which that's big too, because I think their starting price is around 18,000, which is pretty low for an electric vehicle. I think it's one of the cheapest on the market, but 64,000 units is quite a bit. And then once they have those units out, they're going to have people seeing them and buying them more and more, which is huge. And then the last thing I have to show you for why I am bullish is they're expanding their electric vehicle retail footprint into prominent Oregon or Portland, Oregon suburb. So what this basically means is that Solo is going to be moving up and down the West Coast. So they're going to be putting out more stores, more places you can order your Solo car, more places you can go and test drive one, more places you can see one. And all that's going to do is bring in more and more people to want to buy this little tiny three-wheeled car. I might not be a big fan of it, but I know that there will be a market for it. And especially in those big cities where people just need a car that they can rely on for that 30-mile commute they have. It'll be very, very nice for them not have to pay for gas. Um, and then the expansion is huge for me as well. Moving on, the company that everyone knows and loves, Fisker, also known as SPAQ or SPAC as of right now. So my time frame for SPAC is I want to hold it through the merger, and then I want to see some price action post merger when the big money wants to get in. So as of right now, I am holding every single bit that I've bought. Everyone kind of already knows quite a bit about the Fisker company. They know about Henrik, most people do. And if you haven't, there's a lot of good people on Twitter that have done some really good DD. But I'll kind of give you a quick overview of the car, and then I'll talk about the biggest thing that I think they've released recently. So here is their official website. Here is the Fisker Ocean. Here's a picture right there. Here's a couple more down here. So as you guys can see, it has a 250 to 300 mile all-electric range. That's pretty good. Vegan interior and recycled materials. That's also pretty good. There's going to be a lot of people who appreciate that. And then the biggest thing for me is this unique flexible lease. I think there's more information down here. So here it is, flexible lease and purchase options. So it's starting at $379, and you can cancel anytime. Cancel at any time. That is huge because a lot of people they don't want to get into a lease because they think, well, shit, what if something happens in the next few years? I need to downsize. I need to do this or that. Cancel any time is huge. That is huge for Fisker. So kudos to you, Henrik, for doing that. And then 30,000 miles per year allowed is huge as well. My mom leases a car, and I think she gets 10,000 miles a year. So for 30,000 miles per year is great. That's insane. No hidden costs includes full service and maintenance. That's awesome. Their pricing is pretty good too. That sits around normal cars. A lot of cars are sitting around 37K. So that's a good price. And then we can go back here. And the biggest thing that I think SPAC has done recently, or Fisker has done, is they appointed Bill McDermott to their board of directors. He's a huge name that he has ties to Trump. He has ties to Apple, which there's already some circulating talk about Fisker and Apple and how they could be collaborating on certain technologies. I'm not going to get much into that because it's speculation at this point. But Bill McDermott, he's the CEO of ServiceNow, is huge. He has tons of connections. He's a established businessman who has brought companies 500%. He's increased revenue double, triple. His yearly growth is insane, and this just describes him perfectly. Brings extensive global leadership experience across transformative enterprise software, cloud platform, and modern digital workflow technology sectors. That is perfect. He is a huge name that can really get SPAC to be, or Fisker to be known, and just to help get the name out even more. Because he's Fisker is very, very known on our Twitter sphere of Furus and stuff, but Fisker is not known throughout the world. I have a group of investors that I talk to that are long-term investors who have quite a bit of money, and none of them have heard of Fisker or SPAC yet, which a lot of them will once they merge and once it's a little safer for them to throw their big money into it. And then last but not least, I'm going to talk about HCAC or CANO. So starting off with CANO, I'm going to show you their skateboard technology. So it's their foundation, as you can see, CANO's foundation, the skateboard. So what they have here basically is this is an entire electric car. You can run this car, you can put a seat on it, a steering wheel, and this right here will drive around. There's videos up on their Twitter of it driving. The battery is all the way built in. Well, I'm just going to go down a little bit so that you guys can read it yourself. So their technology is the first true steer-by-wire platform coming to market. So what that means is that their driver could sit anywhere in this entire car, and they would still be able to drive the same as if they were sitting in the driver's seat. So their steering wheel could be positioned in the back of the car, on the side of the car, anywhere. Which that's pretty cool technology. Um, and then the other big thing for me is the battery modules are incorporated directly into the skateboard structure, which is huge. So the battery is already in this. So what this is right here is just a platform for the bottom of the car. I'll go back up so you can see it a little bit. This is the platform for the bottom of the car. You can build your car on top of it, but the battery and everything that is needed is inside of this platform. So there's no need for any more space for any more technology to be put in the car. Everything is right here where you need it. And then this is the fleet that they've kind of drawn up. I'm not a huge fan of their own cars, but I love the skateboard technology. And why I love the skateboard technology is because Hyundai Motor Group expects the new platform using CANO's skateboard architecture to allow for a simplified and standardized development process, lowering the vehicle price. So that completely opens the door for Hyundai and whoever else wants to partner with them to use their skateboard tech and build their already known cars. So say that this is just completely out of the ballpark, but Toyota pairs with them and they can build their Corolla on top of that. And then the Toyota Corolla now has an electric vehicle version of it. That's just crazy that they can fit everything that is needed into this small platform and just allow the producers to build over top of it. So I think that this could be something huge for the future, that we could see more partnerships with bigger companies. And also for CANO, there's been talk of a possible partnership with people like Uber or Lyft, because their car, the second car from the right here, has extensive space and can seat, I think it was 7 people in the back and the driver in the front. So that could be a great possible business plan for them to have more people in their Ubers or in their Lyfts or even taxis. But that's none of that has been released yet, so we don't know. That's just speculation as well. And then the second thing that I had on this was simply the Hyundai Motor Group partnership, which I already talked about a little bit. Hyundai is going to, they helped them develop this, and they're going to use the skateboard architecture. They're going to lower their vehicle prices. They're probably going to build already known models that they have on top of it. Kia's involved too, and it's going to be huge when CANO comes out, or Hyundai or Kia comes out and says, yes, this is using the CANO skateboard technology. So I just think that CANO's technology could be something for the future, and a lot of companies could get in on it. But they have not merged yet, so I'm going to wait for the merger. I'm going to be holding every single bit that I have until that merger, and I'm going to probably hold a little bit further into the future to see if we can get some partnerships with either taxi, Uber, Lyft companies, or with other car producers who want this technology that has everything already built into it. All they have to do is build the car on top of it. So that is all I have for today. I hope that kind of gave you guys a quick rundown on how to trade during the political election year. It's going to be quite uncertain and a lot of turmoil, but there are good things that can come out of it, as you can see with the electric vehicles that came out of the debate last night. So thank you guys very much for tuning in, and thank you, Dan, for having me on.
Hey guys, Mr. Prez here, back for another episode of the Daily Dip. Today I kind of want to be talking about how stocks have personalities. This is something, Zach always talks about, and it's kind of where I got the idea from. So Zach posted on Twitter one day, he said, stocks have personalities, learn them. Zach doesn't really use charts. He just knows how they will react to certain headlines, and he knows what to look for on the times and sales based on the news that comes out. And an example that we're going to look at today is Boeing, because similarly, after this is something that really clicked for me. So when I apply this to my options, we look at back in August, I said Boeing always gives it back. Every time Boeing has a big breakout, post-COVID always fades the next couple of days. So, that being said, we can check out what Boeing did today on the 10-minute chart and apply what we know how Boeing behaves and apply that to like a possible trading decision. So if you look at today's price action on the left, we'll kind of start it over here. You notice right out of the gate, you've got a nice flag, bounces right off the 200 SMA, and then you see these nice wide range buy bars come in from under 165 all the way to about 170. So I immediately look at that and say, okay, Boeing's trying to break out, but in the past, it always gives it back. So what I would then do if I'm looking to apply that personality to Boeing is I check the SPY, the VIX, and see if there's any chance that we may roll over soon, as well as waiting for your short signal to appear in your candlesticks. So even just looking at the RSI in the top or the bottom right down here, well above 80, pretty overbought. And you've got a Fibonacci level right here as well. So if you move the price action over, all right, you start seeing like a pretty healthy consolidation. I'm not like, let me zoom in and make this easier to see. Pretty healthy consolidatory candle. It kind of dips under the low of this body, which isn't that good. But, buyers step back in, push it back above the fib, and it closes. So that wouldn't have really been a good short signal at all. You move it over one candle, what do you see? You see price action pierce down below support, close under both of the lows of these candles, and you're like, okay, maybe I start looking for my short entry, a break at this candle or whatever. And so if you apply that to Boeing right there, now you wait for your breach of the low. If you took short right here, 168.89, and covered on this candle right here, it's about a 2.5 point drop just on that move alone. If you play options, that's pretty good. So say you traded that, but you stayed in your position because you think that Boeing is really going to fade. So you push back up for the retest and it rejects you get a double top right off the fib, and then what happens? From 169.60 all the way down to 164. It's over a 5.5 point sell-off just based on Boeing. And you can apply this to Tesla as well. Tesla definitely is a name that has a personality. Tesla likes to go up 40% in a 3-day span when it has technical breakouts on the charts. But then it has a couple of weeks usually of a consolidatory period. So when it comes to watching the personality of a stock, it's better to have a list of 10 really nice, if you trade options, you want pretty volatile stocks that have good range and provide a lot of movement for your contracts. For example, I have a buddy that only trades, I think it's like Zoom, Netflix, Amazon, Tesla, Boeing, and there's like 2 more, but he literally only trades those stocks, and probably, he clears well over 1,500 a day. Obviously sometimes more, sometimes a little less, but averages about $1,500 a day trading the same 8 stocks. But he knows those 8 stocks well enough to make a living off of it, which is all you need. You don't have to trade every stock in the S&P every day. If you take the time to learn 6 to 8 really well, then that should be all you need, because you'll know how they consolidate, you'll know how they like to break out, if they can sustain the gains. You start to see all these conditions that automatically apply subconsciously as you're watching the price action. That's all for today. Hope you guys enjoyed this. I know this one was kind of a quick video, but it really is important. It really is important to understand how these individual tickers move, because they all have different qualities that make them react differently to different stimulus. All right, guys, see you on the next video. Peace out.